Okay. Hi, I'm back. I am back. I'll be reading some more from the Disneyland Encyclopedia. We're up to the letter I. The letter I. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Indiana Jones Adventure Map. Adventureland A-6 states March 3rd, 1995 to ongoing. Debuting in 1995, Indiana Jones Adventure was the first major new attraction in Adventureland since 1963's Enchanted Tiki Room. As with Captain EO and Star Tours, Indiana Jones Adventures was the result of a fruitful pairing of Disney and George Lucas. Plans for the attraction actually began in the mid 80s, back when the second Lucas produced Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom was busy establishing itself as a huge hit in theaters. In theaters. In theaters. Various Disney designers took a crack at incorporating elements from the Indiana Jones films into some kind of Disney adventure. Some of the early concept drawings showed battered vehicles careening along a cliff above a lava-filled ravine. Others included a roller coaster style mine car chase. Nearly all the early plans incorporated the rolling boulder sequence from Raiders of the Lost Ark. When Indiana Jones Adventure finally opened, it had accumulated the highest price tag for any Disneyland attraction ever. Most estimates are over 100 million, about 6 times the total cost to build the entire park in the mid 50s. Yeah. in the mid-50s. Before construction began in 1993, designers first reshaped the giant Jungle Cruise River to make room for the three-story temple structure, some of it underground, and its elaborate queue area stretching a half mile. This was the longest line in Disneyland history. The real achievement, however, wasn't the construction of the building as much as the engineering of the other cars, which are the park's most complex vehicles, created to look like well-used jungle jeeps for 1935. The 16 vehicles dip, swerve, shake, tilt, accelerate, and brake all along the 2,500-foot track, making for a crazy and unpredictable ride and somewhat dangerous. Me too. Ah. And somewhat dangerous. In its first year, the vehicles generated so many minor injuries that designers quickly added several safety modifications. What's more, each vehicle carries its own computer that instantiates random bumps, fire flashes, and other effects to create 160,000 possible variations of the Indy experience. Once they leave the archaeological dig at the boarding area, the trucks speed up to 13 miles per hour. The trucks speed up to 13 miles per hour and whip gas through a Polius 3 and a half-minute journey inside the temple of the Forbidden Eye. Snakes, rats, bugs, fire, blowguns. A collapsing bridge, the famous Rolling Stone, and sophisticated audio animatronic Indiana Jones figures await. And Indy at the end, updated in September 2010, is one of the most lifelike A-A machines ever made. Pumping through the onboard audio systems or realistic sound effects. Yes. Sound effects. Indy's voice, screaming mommies, and the familiar movie music, all propelling the excitement to unprecedented heights, just as the film versions were in. While in movie theaters, the indie ride at Disneyland was an instant hit, publicized on a 1995 TV special called 40 Years of Adventure. The exciting new attraction drew the biggest crowds since 1987 Star Tours debuted. Fans have always loved the delightful little details that add to the authenticity and fun. And fun. I don't know what I want to say. I don't know what I want to say. Yeah. Debuted. Fans have always loved the delightful little details that add to the the authenticity and fun. Among them, SALLAH, one of Indy's movie's sidekicks, delivers the pre-boarding instructions. The queue area displays coded symbols. MARAGLYPHICS, deciphered via special decoder cards. One of the queue area equates its address to Obi-Wan, a character from another Lucas movie. The jungle trucks don't really go in reverse, even though an illusion suggests they do. And in the finest hidden Mickey tradition, one of the skeleton often sports mouse ears. Mouse ears. These and many other surprises make this ride one of the most thrilling and inventive additions to the park in a generation. To paraphrase one of the movie ads upon which it is based, if an adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones Adventure. Indiana Jones Adventure Outpost map. Adventureland A-2 date spring 1995 to ongoing, capitalizing on the massive attention brought to Adventureland by Indiana Jones Adventure. Indiana Jones Adventure Outpost debuted across from the ride's entrance in 1995. The outpost's interior is about 45 feet wide and 20 feet deep, and it opens to South Seas Traders next door. Indy's outpost replaced the Safari Outpost, which had been selling KHAKI safari gear for almost 10 years. Once the Indy name was on it, the outpost began selling classic fedoras, whips, maps, and archaeological artifacts. 227. Indian Trading Post map. Frontierland F4-15 dates July 4th, 1962 to December 1, 1988. The rustic little store known as the Indian Trading Post joined the 7-year-old Indian village in Frontierland on 1962's Independence Day. The Piscowick location near the rivers of America offered guests swell views of boats on the water and kids on Tom Sawyer Island. Inside the trading post were authentic Indian crafts such as turquoise jewelry, clothing, and pottery. Despite the 1972 remodeling in this area that replaced the Indian village with Bear Country. The Indian Trading Post was left untouched. Its Indian theme still appropriate for the new lands set in the Pacific Northwest woods of the 1800s. However, the Indian Trading Post didn't survive the 1988 remodel that replaced Bear Country with Critter Country. A week after the critters arrived, the trading post became the equally rustic but more Disneyesque, Briar Patch. Briar Patch. Indian Village Map. Frontierland FR-15 dates. July 1955 to October 1971. In 1955, a realistic Indian village opened just a tomahawk's throw from the chicken plantation restaurant at the western edge of Frontierland. From there, guests could see the southern tip of what would soon be called Tom Sawyer Island. Tom Sawyer Island. For the first few months, the Indian village consisted of a small collection of teepees and simple wooden structures that recreated the dwellings of various 19th century Plains Indians. Unlike most of Disneyland, the village had dusty dirt paths winding through it instead of paved sidewalks. Inside the Indian village, actual Native Americans demonstrated their customs and performed such ceremonial dances as the eagle and the mountain spirit. The rest was a touch of frontier authenticity in an area of the park that was otherwise only an intimidation of the frontier experience. Disneyland's 1985 hardcover souvenir book proudly noted that the authentic dances from such tribes as the Apache, Navajo, Comanche, and Pawane were performed with the permission of the respective tribal councils and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs. Within a year, the Indian village was relocated further north along the river's west bank, a spot opposite the center of Tom Sawyer Island. This was a larger space with more development, including an ornate dance circle, additional teepees, lodges, a burial ground, and the Indian war canoes. Demonstrations of archery and displays of arts and crafts added to the fun. A 1962 remodel of the village expanded the location and brought in the Indian trading posts. The park souvenir books often showed photos of full-blooded Indians performing tribal dances. Chief shooting star in his elaborate native garb and canoes paddling past painted teepees. In one happy photo, Walt Disney poses in front of a tribal drum, wearing a ceremonial headdress with his gray suit and smiling broadly. The Indian village was showcased on a 1970 episode of The Wonderful World of Disney, but dwelling interest and mounting labor problems meant the village days were numbered. In the fall of 1971, the Indian village was dismantled so this corner of Frontierland could be transformed into Bear Country. Indian War Canoes, aka Davy Crockett's Explorer Canoes. Map. Frontierland FR-14 dates July 4th, 1956 to ongoing. Of all, of all, the many cars, boats, trains, and carts guests can ride in at Disneyland, only one has required its passengers to help with the actual propulsion. That's what that's what Indian War Canoes and Frontierland asks of its guests starting on Independence Day in 1956. Like the Mark Twain, the D ticket, C ticket books, canoes made an approximately 12-minute trip around Tom Sawyer Island, but the canoes deferred right of way to bigger, less mobile watercraft. The canoes launched from the northernmost dock along the western bank of the rivers of America, a spot near the Indian village and opposite the central section of Tom Sawyer Island. The canoes weren't made by Disney, coming instead from a canoe building company in Maine. Originally, the 35-foot-long, one-ton vehicles had small motors to supplement the paddlers. These, however, were soon eliminated, so all power had to come from the dozen guests and two strong-armed cast members in each boat. On May 19, 1971, the Indian War Canoes got a more politically correct name, through Davy Crockett's Explorer Canoes was basically the same attraction. They have operated irregularly because of weather concerns, and there was some talk that they'd be permanently retired in the late 90s. However, today the canoes still exist as rustic throwbacks to Disneyland's earlier, simpler years. Indie Food Cart Map Adventureland A-7 dates CA 1995 to 2006. Of the various food carts that have been stationed throughout Disneyland, one of the most memorable was the Indie Food Cart parked at the west end of Adventureland, themed to the nearby Indiana Jones adventure. The cart was shaped like a battered World War II Jeep, complete with dings and faded paint. The menus lodged into the steering wheel and chained to the body announced various fresh food selections that were supplemented with nuts, chips, and juices. This healthy haven was towed away around 2006. Interventions Map Tomorrowland T-14 dates July 3, 1998 to ongoing. A quarter of a century after the Carousel of Progress show stopped spinning, and a decade after America's Sing its last song, Interventions opened in the big round Carousel Theater at the back of Tomorrowland. Interventions wasn't a daring risk for the park. It had already been a success at Walt Disney World before it came to Anaheim. At Disneyland, the attraction continues to be an ever-changing, multifaceted presentation of innovative entertainment. Innovations focuses on the future, not the distant future, but the future. Nevertheless, even if the future sometimes seems like it's only about 10 minutes away. 10 minutes away. In its first decade, inventions spread displays of gadgets and games, many of which were already on the market, out across its 30,000 square feet and two big floors, subdivided zones pertaining to modern living, entertainment, home, transportation, information, and sports recreation, grouped exhibits together thematically, with each zone sponsored by major companies like Yamaha and Pioneer. The content of the zones was frequently updated, making each intervention visit a new experience. Typically, there was a ring of exhibits circling the slowly rotating perimeter that were demonstrated by cast members. One complete revolution still takes about 18 minutes, and the central hub were hands-on games, quizzes, gadgets, and computers for guests to linger over. The upstairs floor offered more exhibits, corporate displays, and the exit. Throughout the building, guests may have seen voice-activated appliances, the latest PlayStation games, and an imaging program that ages. A just taken photograph, a tree made out of circuit boards, a futuristic car, and virtual reality exercises. As of 2008, the interior space has been dominated by the 5,000 square foot Intervention's Dream Home, a variation of the house of the future that lasted 10 years near Tomorrowland's entrance. Sponsored by Microsoft and other companies, the home displays high-tech, well-furnished rooms used by the fictional Elias family. Elias was both Walt Disney's middle name and his father's first name. Intervention guests will also hear long spirals about next generation cars coming from a major sponsor, Honda. What guests won't find inside interventions or restrooms. Evidently, those haven't been innovated yet. The Carousel Theater is usually filled with audio animatronic figures. There were over 100 for American Sings, but now only one prominent A-A character is on view. He's a doozy though. Hosting the proceedings is a wisecracking robot with Nathal Lane's voice, transparent skin, and a see-through lab coat called Tim Moreau. He recalls the similarly named flight director in the old Flight to the Moon attraction and Another nostalgic nod to the past is the Shaman Brothers Familia. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow tune bolstered with new lyrics. With new lyrics. With new lyrics. New lyrics. Outside the theater's exterior salutes the past with banners. So we know Tomorrowland attractions. A nice reminder that intervention is nothing new at Disneyland. At Disneyland. A dozen Disneyland imports from Walt Disney World. 1. Astro Orbiter. 2. Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. 3. Captain EO. 4. Country Bear Jamboree. 5. Fast Pass. 6. Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. 7. Interventions. 8. Magic Journeys. 9. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. 10. Mile Long Bar. 11. Space Mountain. 12. Wonders of China. International Street Map. Town Square. TS-7 dates. Never built. From 1956 to 1958, a sign on a tall wooden fence near the Opera House announced that a new area called International Street was under construction. Behind the fence, visible to curious guests through small viewing holes, were photographs of what the street would look like when finished. According to the photos, International Street would run parallel to the eastern row of buildings along Main Street, lined with architecture and shops inspired by a half dozen countries. Actually, what guests were seeing through the viewing holes was a scaled down version of something called International Land, which was intended for Disneyland's northeast corner beyond Tomorrowland. Roughly triangular in shape, International Land, as depicted in the book Disneyland, Then, Now, and Forever, would be surrounded by water and connected to the rest of the park by 3 bridges. Some kind of transportation system crawled through the 5-acre triangle, and several large buildings graced the interior. Although neither International Street nor International Land was built, similar concepts did find expression 2 decades later in Walt Disney World. At Disneyland, announcements for the upcoming International Street were replaced in 1958 by plans for Liberty Street. But those two would soon pass. Intimate Apparel, aka Corset Shop. Map. Main Street, MS-13. Dates: 1955 to December 1956. Ever since Disneyland opened, one of the most restful places along Main Street has been an elevated porch along the eastern side of the street near the hub. Today, guests who take a rest on the bench and chairs here probably don't realize that this little porch, only about 18 feet wide and 5 feet deep, originally belonged to the Intimate Apparel Shop, also called the Corset Shop, in the park's 1956 souvenir book. In case the in case the EUPHEMISTIC intimate apparel name didn't register with 1950s guests. The sign above the porch at the time clearly spelled out what was available inside was Braziers and TORSOLETTES. The sponsor was the H-M Company, better known at the time as Hollywood Maxwell or the Wizard of Oz. H-M had created and was selling at Disneyland the strapless Whirlpool bra that makes the most of you. Not only that, intimate apparel even told the history of women's undergarments via an in-store exhibit. Some experts speculate that the porch was built as a buffer to keep the window displays a few feet back for young pedestrians. Others suggest that the porch was intended as a seating area for gentlemen while the ladies shop for unmentionables inside. It's also possible that the porch was simply provided as an inviting rest stop on a busy commercial street. In any case, H-M abandoned the porch and closed up shop in Disneyland in late 1956, at which point the Ruggers China and glass shop next door spread into the vacant room. Ivan Richard, 1910 to 1976. Imaginers have led the way to new Disneyland attractions, and Richard Ivan led the Imaginers. Born in 1910 in Salt Lake City, his family moved to California 12 years later. Ivan attended Stanford University, USC, and an art institute before getting a job in the budding film industry, working as an art director for the next 2 decades. He contributed to such notable films as Miracle on 34th Street, Disney's The Three, CABALLEROS, and Sundown, the latter earning him an Oscar nomination. Joining the Disneyland designers in 1952, Ivan worked with outside architects to create the park. However, Irvine soon realized that the best people to design a park that would translate themes from stage and screen were the people already working on Disney films. Accordingly, Walt Disney gathered many of his top animators, artists, set designers, and craftspeople into his own newly formed design department, which would eventually be called Imagineering. For the next 20 years, Ivan headed this team in the creation of every Disneyland attraction, including sophisticated classics like Pirates of the Caribbean. After Walt Disney died in 1966, Irvine became the master planner for Walt Disney World, where one of the old-fashioned steamboats is now named after him. Irvine retired in 1973 and died 3 years later in Los Angeles. He was named a Disney legend in 1990. His daughter-in-law, Kim Irvine, is an acclaimed Disneyland art director who has worked on everything from Rivers of America to the Disney Gallery. It's a Small World. Map Fantasyland FA-21 dates May 28, 1966 to ongoing. It's a Small World was launched on a very large stage. The 1964 to 1965 New York World's Fair, where over 10 million visitors joined, the happiest cruise that ever sailed round the world. However, what those visitors saw wasn't what was originally planned. The Happy Cruise went through a major change before it ever launched. The main concept was always a charismatic boat ride past hundreds of singing audio animatronic dolls from 6 continents. However, initially, the international dolls were going to sing all the various national anthems on all those continents. This would have resulted in a disharmonious jumble as guests listened to one anthem as they approached the next. Instead of a multitude of overlapping melodies, a single anthem was written by Richard and Robert Sharman to fill the entire trip with a 15-minute reminder that it was indeed a small world after all. The Sharmans originally intended their song to be played as a slow ballad, but the playful spirit of the cruise demanded a bouncier tempo. The building in New York was vastly different from what was constructed in Anaheim. For the fair, It's a Small World was in the Pepsi Cola Pavilion, where the relatively bland exterior was dressed up with signage and an elaborate 120-foot tall, 100-ton artwork in front. This structure, called the Tower of the Four Winds, had mobile elements that express the boundless energy of youth, according to its designer, Disney legend Wally Crump. At Disneyland, that structure is now echoed with an artistic sign out front, made of twisting, bending metal tubes. Anaheim's acre and a half small world building supplanted the old train depot at the back of Fantasyland and extends well beyond the park's perimeter berm. The multifarious facade is an intricate, smile-inducing collage of moving shapes that that evokes grand monuments, the Taj Mahal, the Eiffel Tower, etc., from around the world. From around the world. Wonderful and whimsical. This isn't architecture. It's rock. It's rock. It's Larkitecture. Designed by several Disney legends, among them Mary Blair. The exterior has undergone several paint revisions that have taken it from white and gold, and white and blue color schemes to a sweet rainbow of candy pastels. The gold trim is made of actual 22-karat gold leaf, and some of the fancy decorations are in large duplicates of personal jewelry owned by the designers. A lavish topiary garden, a complex cuckoo clock that chimes with marching toy soldiers every 50 minutes, and the Disneyland trains which pass across the building's layered frontage all add to the fanciful fun. As charming as the cruise is, the trip itself is almost unnecessary because there's so much to see on the building's exterior. Inside the building, the winding 1,400-foot river, laid out by Disney legend Claude Coates, Mendes Pass. Over 300 singing dolls and about 250 kinetic toys and effects. Everything is scattered across dozens of Mark Davis created scenarios to illustrate how happiness is a global emotion, whether it's experienced by island kids on surfboards, Dutch girls clacking their wooden shoes, giggling hyenas in Africa, skating Avians, or a Chilean Flautist. Alice Davis's adorable doll costumes put the fun and functional. They are fashioned with Velcro for easy access whenever mechanisms need repair. Veteran guests may remember the sponsor's cheery reminder at the exit that no matter where in the world they went, Bank of America would be there. BFA, which have fun Disney film projects dating back to Snow White in 1937 sponsored It's a Small World until 1992, when Mattel took over. In recent years, SYLVANIA displays a slogan about making our small world brighter. Since 1997, beautiful seasonal decorations have been added for It's a Small World holiday, still a winter favorite. Additionally, in 2008, a major refurnishment brought updated boats and new dolls to the festivities. After debuting in New York in 1964, It's a Small World got two big pages in in Disneyland's 1965 souvenir book. A year before the attraction even opened in Anaheim. At its Disneyland premiere in 66, international children ceremoniously poured water from each of the world's oceans into the small world with a wire press. Photographers merely clicked away. The e-ticket attraction C-ticket books even had its own soundtrack album, complete with a colorful 10-page booklet. In 1999, It's a Small World became the first Disneyland attraction to get the new Fast Pass ticket distribution system, a significant sign that the happiest cruise is still as adored and adorable as ever. It's a Small World toy shop. Map Fantasyland FA-20 dates December 18, 1992 to ongoing. To cash in on the high volume of pedestrian traffic emerging from It's a Small World, two stores sit near the exit of the famous attraction. The smaller store, slightly further away, is Fantasy Fair Gifts, and the larger one, right in the path of a departing guest, is the It's a Small World toy shop. For most of its history, the toy shop was sponsored by Mattel, which also sponsored It's a Small World. This meant the store has sold lots of Mattel toys, not all of them Disney related. Hot Wheel cars, games, and Barbie dolls have occasionally populated the shelves. Today, plenty of Disney dolls, statues, and toys for tots fill the store. The building's fanciful design echoes the playful scenes displayed along the banks of the Small World cruise. Orwick's, Iwerks UB, 1901 to 1971. One of the great Disney animators was also a key creative force behind several major Disneyland attractions. Iwerks was born in Missouri in 1901, the same year as Walt Disney, working at the same Kansas City art studio. The two teens met and soon started up a commercial art business. The short-lived company soon led to a bigger one called Laugh Ogram Films in 1922, with Iwerks working as the chief animator. A few years later, the two friends reunited in Hollywood at the new Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio, where Iwerks worked on the Alice comedies, became the first person to draw Mickey Mouse, and single-handedly animated Mickey's first cartoon, Plain Crazy. After pioneering the silly symphony series of the late 20s, IWERKS left the company during the 30s to create his own cartoons. However, his Flip the Frog and other characters weren't as successful as those he created with Disney, and so he returned in the early 40s. Heading the studio's research and development team, IWERKS devised new cinematic advances that propelled imaginative live action animation combinations. These special effects would memorably flourish in Mary Poppins and win him 2 Oscars for his technical achievements. IWERKS is listed in the credits of dozens of Disney classics, among them Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, plus Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. At Disneyland, IWERKS brought his technological wizardry to three of the biggest attractions of the 1960s. The Circle Vision 360 Theater in Tomorrowland, Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln on Main Street, and It's a Small World in Fantasyland, and the Haunted Mansion that illuminated Floating Head in the SEA and CE room, and the Singing Bus in the Graveyard are based on projection systems IWERKS devised. After working on the Hall of Presidents for Walt Disney World UB, IWERKS died in 1971 at age 70. He was inducted as a Disney legend along with the first fleet of great Disney animators 18 years later. 18 years later. Okay, that's all for now. Bye-bye.